either Nah or they could play Kennen again. I honestly feel like the Kennen would be kind of cool. Although, Sejuani value is going to be extraordinarily low. So at least with a Jace, you can go into melee form, and so you can get some of that permafrost value. Considering it for now,
it's a lot of damage poke-wise here.
Oh yeah,
and he's going to commit. So
now we get to see exactly who's going to be playing what. I assume that it's going to be Kuma on Caitlyn and Keria on the Varus.
I think so, because that's what makes the most sense, because it's much easier for Keria to obviously farm Spell Thief's Edge if that's the support item he's going to choose here. Just in general, his gold item where he gets damage from his poke, much easier to pull that off than Caitlyn, so Caitlyn not going to be able to scale as well off of the support item and having less gold. Varus also has the utility of his ultimate, although they swapped the last second.
Okay, that's interesting. I was wondering how this was going to go.
Keria might be playing AD carry.
Oh my.
Think about that. Keria could be playing AD carry this game.
That'd be very cool. Very strange, but very cool. All right, so it has been largely Gumayusi that has been playing Varus. Feels very strange to see him not on the Caitlyn, but that's just the world that we're living in. And I guess it doesn't really matter, because the job is the same for these bottom laners on Tier 1 side, and that is make sure that Zeri never plays League of Legends.
Yeah, and Zeri can have a harder time than Lucian in lanes like this. Just not a whole lot she can do to protect herself. She doesn't have a lot of power at level 2, like the Lucian did. Like Carl pointed out really well in the space earlier. It's just that they prevented them from hitting level 2, crashed that wave, and went for the dive immediately. We'll see what happens this time around, but this comp is good. If you just look at these 5 champions here for Kwangdong Freaks, this is a comp. This is a real comp.
It's good, yeah.
It's very meta.
Yeah.
But when you consider the bottom lane here and what just happened and the power of the poke, the immense ways and setup they have to pick people, it could be a disaster.
It's certainly good. Let's see if it is. We hop onto the rift. Wow, T1 fans, top of their lungs, as you can hear. Let's see whether they're going to be rewarded once again.
It is support Caitlyn, was the question we still had.
Yep.
Seemed likely, but you never know.
You don't. You definitely don't.
You don't know till you see that item bot.
When it's Keria, you never do. We'll see whether he takes Snap Trap first. That would be funny. He's not going to. And we'll also see how he's going to play this lane out. Because could be a few ways. Of course, it's pretty obvious that he'll be heading in a more lethality direction. Items are cheaper. It's generally the way that you are going to go there. But the main task for this Caitlyn is to
push the waves and hit people with autos.
Yes, hit people with autos in their face as much as you can. This ward doing a lot of good work, as Keria is going to see it, and they're going to share some gold. And yeah, this is
So Hail of Blades coming up here, obviously going to give her some extra power with those trades, and that's what you want if you're playing support Caitlyn, which is not, I mean, don't try this at home, kids, please. But if you are going to play this, that's what you want to get that extra damage through these autos. It's exactly what I'm talking about. And
he
in the
barriered for the trade.
Yeah, and he's still now at 1/3 health.
I love that.
Or okay, yeah, you tricked me for a second. I was like, I don't think he barriered, but yes, Keria barriered, and now Hatayun is at 1/3 health.
Yes.
First time ever support Caitlyn.
Unsurprising, as he gets the headshot onto Moham there as well. Very good video out recently about the upcoming Yuumi nerfs done by old mate Freak.
Yeah, Freak said that Yumi's a melee champion now.
Yeah, basically he's done his very best to make as many lines of nerfs as possible so that people never play the champion ever again. And that is, you know, if that's going to be the first big thing that he does in his new role, I think he's already nailed it. I think he's already absolutely fantastic in his position. Fantastic stuff. Zeus, oh my goodness, if that Empowered Shock Blast had landed, Dudu's dead.
Yeah. Luckily, Dudu doesn't have to flash, but he's still in a really rough spot. His owner's going to come up here and try to set up for something against this early Maokai. Might just hard force the dive.
Well, let's see. There's the flash. Dudu is very, very dead, but can he get something back? The answer's yes, and that's an execution. All right, of course it is. Sure. Okay. What?
Well, he can teleport right back in here. Zeus, and he needs to, because otherwise he's going to be losing a ton of farm, but Zeus could just kite this out, back up casually here, and yeah, it's a Renekton that's desperately trying to survive, not touch a Sejuani to get kill credit, and it looked like he might actually get out. He almost did. He was on the edge of that turret range. And still is executed. Loses a little bit of farm time here, but otherwise very successful gank.
Yeah, really nicely done.
Dudu is just so low at this point, and Youngjae, if he tries to actually commit, then Zeus just turns on him. Yep, just doesn't hit the Sejuani ever.
I like Ona's flash is actually really cute there as well, because if, like, it hit, and it looked a bit weird, right? Because I think he could have just Arctic Assaulted to pick that one up, but he did it so that even if there was a slice or a dice available from Dudu, he was going to hit him regardless.
Yep.
Very, very cute. As Gumiushi is just trying to do what he can here. Does have to flash away, though. Carrier also misses the Peacemaker, but you can see the looming Piggy. Ona making his way in, and Winter's Wrath's going to come down, and despite the fact that a few things worked out, I think this still is going to go in the wrong direction. The Permafrost comes in, Ona survives, Carrier also lives, Moham's dead, and the Piggy goes down, but it doesn't matter. Look at all these minions!
Look at all the minions that they are not going to get. It is a repeat here going into this second game of the last one. Just a little bit different circumstances here. It's not the full dive with Faker coming down on set. Just
Dead Maokai? Look at all of this gold.
Now he's going to be picking up a fair amount of it. As pre-6.
Yeah, Bulldog taking a bit of damage.
Yeah.
Okay, Bulldog, time to go home. I think it's time to go home. Getting nervous. Let's check this one out again.
What you just said has a lot more meanings than one. Okay, so Moham detaches here. They put a lot of damage onto Owner, takes one extra turret shot here. And Moham decides, okay, can't kill Carrier. Just going to hope that I can get that last auto onto Owner. He does, just barely. Yumi's clearly OP. Glad we're nerfing that on the next patch.
It's autos, man. And we are nerfing those. So there we go. Glad you brought that up.
A dive that's executed with no flash from Owner. And it's still just beautiful, the way they pull it off there. Part of it is just the nature of what Varus and the Caitlyn could do, but also part of it was how they flashed it, how they played it at super low health. Like, they're just... This is the hardest skill check that they're showing us right now. And if this fails, the dive fails and the Zeri gets ahead, this game might just end at that moment as well, the opposite way. Like, if things go 10% worse for T1 there, then suddenly, this is a real game where we talk about Zeri scaling, and the laning problems aren't really an issue anymore.
No, 100%. No, you're exactly right. This is still a tightrope walk, and this draft gap is nowhere near the same as in game number 1. Game number 1, there was, like, T1 could do everything face up and still just win because their champs did stuff that were better than the opposing champs in the positions that they put themselves in.
Yeah, the difference in this game is that T1 can do those things if they play like T1.
Yeah.
Guess what? They're T1.
Yeah, and they probably will be T1 as Youngjae has to flash. Permafrost almost stacked up there as Twisted Advance to get on in. Youngjae is going to see what he can do. That's the wrong turret. He's still dead. And that's going to be Zeus picking up that kill. But Bulldog now to come on forward will be able to pick it up. Perfect execution is exactly that. And the young player doing fantastic work already.
Yeah, this was a bit of an overextension here for T1, and Zeus is just so squishy. You know, at this stage of the game, Dudu has level 6, so gets on top of him there, and you're playing with a Maokai could root. So it's really easy for that gap to be closed for Dudu there. This does, of course, allow Faker to get some extra push in mid. Looks like he might pick up a plate here just barely before he is forced back by Bulldog. But 2 kills to the Akali this early on in the game is amazing for Guangdong Freaks.
It is. Almost all the plates are gone, which is a worry. Nature's Grasp going to come forward as Carrier is going to sacrifice himself for the good of the colony. You love to see it. And that is going to make sure that at least Gumiushi survives.
Giving the kill over to Youngjae here is an interesting choice. perhaps not what they actually wanted to do. I think giving the kill to Taeyun would have been much stronger here, but either way, another punish here by the side of Kwangdong Freaks with these extremely aggressive plays from T1, just constantly skill checking, and sometimes you lose. As this isn't being Youngjae going for the twisted advantage here, punching Zayas.
Oh, that's the solo kill! Dudu is gonna pick it up. He was already smashing this lane, actually. Yeah. There was that kill that went down earlier, but Dudu teleports back in, gets all of those creeps, and okay.
Zayas pushed out of lanes once, now he's pushed out twice. Guma is gonna get this whole turret here very early. Well, this game might not be about putting the Zeri down anymore. It might be about a fed Renekton and a Kali that are going to cause problems here in the mid game, while Taeyun will just be farming mid and trying to catch up. As they actually can take this advantage and push it into a Rift Herald right now. We got a game on our hands.
My hands are covered in Game Wolf. I can see it here on my hands. All right, let's check out the replay one more time. As we were trying to watch this, the turret's going to fall down. That's all of the plates. Bottom lane's still a disaster, but this was pretty cool.
Youngjae smashes him towards this Renekton who has ult available, and Zayas is just so squishy.
Yeah, well, Zayas might also be dead again. He is. Taeyun is going to go down as well. He's not the main character of this story. T1 are just going to walk up the bottom lane.
Put plates on those turrets.
Yeah.
They're trying to get an inner sub 10.
It's a lot of money.
This is just Kwangdong giving up bottom.
Yeah, Faker's going to come on over. The backflip does come forward. Emperor's Divide avoided. Very nice. Ace in the hole comes in, and Bulldog has to flash. Oh my goodness. That arrow did a lot of work.
So this is now a base race in League of Legends.
At 9.5 minutes?
Zayas gonna grab plate mid. And top side, we do see... Forgive me, those watchers. This is my first time on a game like this. I'm a little bit awkward about this. I'm a little bit nervous. But yeah, this is really greedy here for the plate from Zayas. He's just punished by Dudu. Yeah. There's not really much forgiveness for this one. That's just straight up greed. But up here on the follow-up, he's just chain CC'd here. Taeyun tries to go for this and pick up some extra gold. Bit of a mistake here, how that's juggled, and he actually takes way too much damage, and Owner will trade it back. But still, picking up some money on the Zeri. 3 assists now she has.
Yeah, Zayas might be in trouble again as Dudu level up. And Zayas is running the wrong direction. That's his strategy. He can move him back, so I don't think that Zayas is going to die here or anything like that. And Owner is going to turn up as well.
One thing I want to say is that Kwangdong have really just committed to our bot lane doesn't exist. Let's make sure that top lane doesn't exist. And it might have been something that CV Max said to them during the break after that last game. But next time this happens, you collapse on the Kennen, you kill him, and you actually make sure that he can't play the game. You change their weak side to be an extreme weak side. But now the lane swap comes through. Yeah. And this is where you have to actually commit heavier. Youngjae has his ultimate here, but he's not where he needs to be to stop this from going down. So this is just going to go down for free, and so much money is being given over.
Well, Taeyun's still going to dive on in. There's the final chapter as Carrier with the barrier is going to come in. Taeyun's dead. The Renekton also died somewhere on the map. Not entirely sure how that one happened. Ace in the hole flying towards Bulldog as Faker, still at full health, was making his way up. I liked the idea from Kwangdong Freaks. It did not work.
Yeah, I mean, the aggressive wall ride in from Taeyun there, I think really speaks volumes to the player's mentality right now, is hoping that you can pop off and carry, hit a big ult, and grab like 3 kills there is your dream. That's what you're really hoping and praying for in this one, because you're like, oh man, we're losing. We lost in inner bottom. We tried to trade back topside. We didn't get equivalent exchange here. This is not Full Metal Alchemist, right? They got the top turret. But now as they try to come over here and defend with this Yuumi and Zeri ult, the split is good, and you've just sacrificed your life. And you know, it's not the play. You're desperate, you're frustrated, you're trying to make something happen up here, but if T1 don't misplay there, you throw your life away.
And that is precisely what happened. 30 CS is the difference here. 2,000 gold, the lead for Gumushi. That's what happened. And this time, it wasn't because he killed all of the champions, although he's done a pretty good job of that as well. It's because he's killed 2.5 turrets.
Yeah, and he's about to get, he's looking for number 3.
Yeah, I'd say this is like, he's already up to 3, having, as soon as this plate goes down, I'm going to say 3. There it is. Chains of Corruption go wide in true Varus fashion.
They both have flash, and they both have insane range, so they're not too worried about the retreat here is...
Oh dear. Ace in the hole is going to come in, but it's going to be interrupted. Keria trying to flash out of this one, does not work. Puts down the snap trap. It's actually kind of cute how that one went down as Bulldog looks for the backflip, does not get it, and also Gumushi makes it under the turret, so he'll be fine. So 0 and 2 for Keria. A little bit unfortunate on the Caitlyn this time around for the support Caitlyn debut. It will be a Chemtech Soul, so not a great one, not a favorite.
Not amazing, especially not for T1's comp, because they don't want any of these champions to be half health.
Well, Gumushi just going to have to try and get himself out of this one. Try and hope and pray.
There's the money.
And there it is. Taeyun's going to pick that one up.
Finally, he gets his shutdown.
Yeah.
It's been a long time coming.
A lot of money.
Long time coming.
What was that, like 650? Or
I think it was 650, yeah.
It's pretty nice.
It's a lot of money for the Zeri, who needs to back more respectfully, but will.
Ow.
And the Maokai up there, very good, punishing the greed once again for T1, but they're still trading up. You know, that's the thing. You get these punishes off not every time, but sometimes. But they're still killing the turrets. They're still stacking up that gold. And when we get to team fights later,
Ace in the hole, going to be blocked by Bulldog. Very nicely done. T1 will move over towards the bottom side river. And it's looking like just the Rift Scuttler that's on their mind. Let's check this one out one more time. As while this was happening, we saw that Keria aims the Ace in the hole, but immediately Quantum Freaks walk over and kill him.
Yeah, he had a control ward and trap set up there, so I guess he thought, oh, I'm pretty safe to do this, except he revealed himself with that ult, and they just collapse and kill him. Then move on to Gumushi, who just barely gets caught by Nature's Grasp, pushed back into Taeyun, picks up the 650. A shutdown gold in the Zeri's arms, and this is still not a good game state, but things like this are what Kwangna have decided they're going to try to do. Is they looked for that lane swap, tried to deal with that top side, failed that time. Taeyun has 3 deaths this game, but this time, finally, the third real try, he picks up a kill, picks up some shutdown. It's not all good news, but there's some good news.
No, it is. And honestly, this is a game state that Quantum Freaks can work with, right? It's nowhere near the same difference as in game number 1, where it was kind of just doomed, right?
Yeah.
This is, you know, Taeyun being able to get that kill back. He does have his shield bow now completed, and when he gets to 3 items, he'll still be Zeri. He'll have a Yuumi. There's a Maokai there. The amount of peel is actually good. Bulldog's dive will be fantastic because there's so many squishies on this team. Zeus, okay, well, Bulldog's well, not quite dead, but isn't going to kill Zeus, but still, man. Bulldog's mechanics are pretty clean.
I was saying, he's really going to have to be an amazing player to get out of this.
Yes. Very used to saying that, well, they've been caught and there's multiple people here, and then never mind. Second activation of the ult, and he is absolutely fine. Snap traps go down. Quantum Freak's not going to be able to fight for this Herald, but who cares? It's fine.
Him getting caught there, or his greed to try to look for that pick on the Zeus, still leads to essentially his death, his lack of being around or being present for that Rift Herald take, so T1 will grab that one up. Not a lot of great targets for this one, outside of the remainder of that turret on the top side of the map. Everything else is gone, as it turns out. Your T1's already gotten those turrets.
Yeah, that's how you stop them, is you wait until all the turrets are gone and then they can't kill any more turrets. It's a flawless plan. And of course, it gets more difficult to get out onto the map and kill all these turrets if you don't have the kind of suffocating control that they had in game number 1. And that is sort of how things have been done.
Even though Zeus he was punished repeatedly on the top side. Like, if you look at that, those isolated deaths for him, and I don't mean that he was by himself because he died with teammates often, but if you look at that alone, it looks like, oh man, the Renekton must be really, you know, in a good spot in this game. Not really, actually, comparatively, because Zeus has picked up so much of that plate and turret gold on the map that he has so much money sitting on 2 items. The Renekton is the only real frontline for the Zeri in this comp. Yeah, the Maokai kind of can be, but how do you front to back here against all this poke? You're going to have to be confident. You're going to have to be decisive. You have to kill 2 80 carries, basically, but one main threat. Yeah. And the Zeri, if the fight goes very long, can do it. But the game also has to go very long. There's a lot of ifs, there's a lot of conditions here.
And you also have to have a health bar. And Gumusi's doing a great job of hitting these cues and making sure that he... Okay. Ono just throwing that one willy-nilly. It's absolutely fine. Chains of Corruption.
Bullet hell!
A lot of dashes coming on in there as the Rift Herald going to largely be ignored. Is Ono in a bit of trouble? There is The Crocodile coming forward. Faker trying to get rid of Bulldog, but it doesn't quite work out. Now Bulldog on the run, trying to get out. Faker sets up the Sand Soldier and is going to be able to lock that one down. So mid lane and traded for the jungle, as Young Jay could be going down here as well. But the net not going to connect. Drake still on the hunt though.
Yeah, Drake's up. T1 could try to kite back and take it here, but they want more. They want to maximize the value of this trade. And with no Akali threat, they're going to push this down until the wave crashes.
All right, well, Prowler's Claw Dudu diving on top of Zeus. He does slice and dice and get himself out, but that was dicey, to say the least.
He will not be having that red buff. No, that will not belong to him. As T1, it's sole point for a Drake that we've often called irrelevant, but for this comp where T1 are the ones who are taking half of the health bars away all the time, this Drake is really just not going to be very valuable. It's basically a buffer for the Elder to spawn at this point in time, but they'll take the extra stats here as this fight is just dodge that one, hold on, dodge the next one. Okay, wait for that Varus arrow, and he chains a corruption. Like, T1's like, thank God I got a Yuumi in this game, or this is just not going to happen. They do turn and kill this Sejuani, but unfortunately when Bulldog goes a step too far, Faker reads it perfectly, and that's going to be a trade 1-for-1.
I really like the use of Emperor's Divide just to say, get out of here, Akali. Not in your shroud, don't want to see it. Means that a lot of Akali's kit has to be used defensively to get back to the shroud, or, you know, to try and get to safety. And so really, really well done there by Faker. Of course, knows the matchup extraordinarily well, demonstrates it right there. 3,000 gold the lead for T1, nowhere near the advantage that they had in the first game, but still quite considerable as we move towards 20 minutes.
Zeus freely side laning, Varus with some really nice wave clear to just push mid, and Faker is being shadowed, so the one vulnerable lane, the one place where you think you can maybe try to make something happen is just really tough. I mean, it's Yuumi Maokai trying to chase this one down. Just takes so much damage.
This is crazy. Keria is just walking at this inhibitor turret alongside Zeus, and he's putting down snap traps. He's just making it really difficult as Taemin's going to take an ace in the hole. And Gumayusi looking for a little bit more. Final chapter comes down. Owner's happy to tank it, and this inhibitor's dead, Wolf.
Yep.
Like, what's happening?
I mean, no, there's no response because they try to make the Maokai rotation happen top. It doesn't work. If Maokai's bottom, you could try to set something up with your ult.
This game feels unfair again. Although it shouldn't be. It shouldn't feel like this.
It really shouldn't, but it does. And this is basically T1 saying, oh, CV Max, you like, you said this season's going to be a scrim. Well, we'll give you a scrim. Although most games that go like this, you cancel the scrim. You just say regame when you go to the next one. But this is a professional game, and T1 are just going to cancel the turrets instead. And
yeah,
they've taken 5 of them off the map. An inhibitor early at 2018, I believe, was the timestamp when that one got wiped off. They have insane wave clear. They have a massive lead that was initially pretty bloodless because it was just by killing structures. Now they're starting to actually get picks and get kills with the money they earned from those structures. Baron has spawned here. And we're not too far away with the lead that T1 have with the double lethality versus this Zeri that's only on 2 items. I'm just saying, we can start this up and turn on you. And maybe we're there now as they do clear the last part of this vision away.
There is, you know, that one way that Quandong Freaks gets back in is by winning a fight while T1 are trying to do Baron, getting the Baron, and then really turning this game on its head. But with this bottom lane inhibitor gone, it makes getting this Baron so much easier for T1.
And even though Dudu has teleport here, he can't really come into this fight with a TP because he's going to be so far away from everything. Knows how deeply T1 push away all the wards. There's no flank angles here. They checked twice, thrice to make sure there's no Renekton flank.
Yeah. Well, that inner turret is also going to go down. Bulldog has to go back to base, and maybe that just means T1 walk over to the Baron and take this one, because look at all the darkness that Quandong Freaks have to trek through in order to make it to the Purple Worm.
No TP wards, nothing, no options here. They have to kind of siege their way through the jungle. There's a Maokai ult.
Yeah, Nature's Grasp to come in. That's a brilliant Glacial Prison to make sure that the Maokai can't get anything done. But can someone get out of here is the question, as Emperor's Divide gets rid of Bulldog, and Faker just sweeps him up on his way out. It's a 1-for-1 in the end. Owner might fall down, but honestly, he's done his job. Fantastically well done. Picks the right angle in order to escape as well. And T1, they just lose Gumayusi. They trade it for Bulldog and a Baron, and you take that every day of the week. And now they're looking for even more.
He's going to push mid, try to get a second inhibitor here.
Oh, Faker is just massive, by the way.
Shadow
Luden's
Flame.
build with Shadow Flame just complete. Has an unbroken stopwatch as well for even more safety.
And he's set up this Sundis turret, which feels just unnecessary at this point, but
any super creeping droids as they head towards the Nexus turrets wall.
Gonna be a second inhib. At bare minimum, as Guma's respawned and headed down mid, and they can just go back 30 seconds until the Drake spawns, and that will be the Elder spawner, plus the Soul, which, again, it's helpful, but not really. If this was an Infernal Soul, you would feel so bad right now as Quantum Freaks. You still feel really bad. So this ends up being the pick onto Guma, but Faker has just had Bulldog's number all game long.
His Azir is pretty good. It's just pretty good. And he'll pick up yet another kill. Gumushi now getting the transform on his Muramana. As T1 just look to secure this soul. We'll see whether they do get it. T1 and Zeus and Gumushi chilling here in this mid lane. Nature's Grasp once again as Faker shifts the sands to get out. Owner is going to break up the brambles as Youngjae gets into the backline carrier, trying to keep himself alive as the Zeri is starting to have a moment, but it stops immediately. Youngjae also going to try and twist and advance his way around this one. Bulldog flashing after getting that shuriken onto Faker. Finally some revenge, but the game, I think, is just done. Dudu and Moham, they are left alive, but these Nexus turrets are not going to be so lucky. Look at a Jace just mow them down.
What a series we witnessed tonight, Atlas.
we definitely witnessed a series. Goodbye, Moham. You will be remembered as Dudu. I don't even think he wants to. Gumushi's there, but he just can't get access. Hail Arrows comes down and Gumushi's dead, and Owner is just going to get out his flail and finish off the Kwangdong Freaks. There goes 2-0 for T1.
That was such a unique set of drafts, and both drafts for T1, they said, we could just take the edge that you've given us and play a standard game. Well, that would be very fun. Let's play a let's play a draft that tries to punish you even harder. Let's play a unique and different playstyle. Let's play the both busted 80 carries in the same lane, put Carrier on that support Caitlyn. And it almost felt personal in some ways in this series, the way that T1 responded to the draft disrespect, because I think that is the best way to describe what happened here tonight, is draft disrespect from Kwangdong Freaks, a team and a coaching staff that should know better.
Yeah,
than to let T1 have these champs. Yeah,
you're precisely right. I think that after that game one, it is so difficult to mentally get your way back into the series. And I think, honestly, in game two, admirable effort by Kwangdong Freaks. Because yes, the bottom lane, a complete disaster yet again, but they had somewhat of a plan. Dudu also, great performance on the Renekton in the early game. Bulldog had some moments as well. Not to mention Youngjae. He was a Maokai, he was a tree doing tree things, but still did not look tilted out of his mind like he could have been after what was a game with 0